Hey everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Samsung Galaxy Book Flex. I'm going to show you how to get inside and access your speakers. First thing, power down your computer the correct way. Make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip it over to access our bottom case screws. Now, as you see on the bottom of your computer, there's a rubber foot in each of the four corners. That's held down by either double-sided tape or very light glue. So if you have a small flat pry tool, maybe like a small screwdriver, you can get it under there and pop those up fairly easily. Just be aware they are rubber, so if you're not getting under there enough, or if you're popping it up too hard or too unevenly, you can damage them. After you get the rubber feet off, they will each reveal a screw underneath. Once you take that screw off, you'll take a small flat pry tool and you're going to go around the seam of the bottom case and pry it off from your computer. Now, if you watch my videos, you'll know that for metal computers, I generally recommend a plastic pry tool because they scratch your case less. However, with this bottom case, even though it's metal, I had a hard time getting this bottom case off. It's really stuck on there, really snapped on there very well. So I had to end up using a metal pry tool, even though that wasn't my first option. So if you do go that route, just be very careful not to damage your bottom case. And also be aware there are only 4 screws holding this down. It may be very difficult to pop that up, but that's just this computer, unfortunately. After you get your bottom case off, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general repair side note, whenever I'm operating on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you need any help with any tools or supplies for your computer project, as well as any of these replacement or upgrade parts for this specific model computer, there'll be a link above, also below in the description, and it will give you a list of all those tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this computer. Now, before I do anything in a computer, I make sure that the battery is either removed or at least unplugged. It's safer to work on a computer when as little power as possible is running through it. So in this computer, you can either unplug it first and just leave the battery in, or you can take the whole battery out. I'll show you how to do both now. It's held down by 4 screws, 1 on each side, the left and the right, and then 2 on the bottom near the left and right corners. Once you take those screws up, it plugs into the motherboard right here. Now that's a snap plug. That's not an insert plug. This just snaps directly up and off of that port. Be aware these wires are fragile. All wires in a laptop are fragile. So whenever you're working on a plug, try to avoid pulling or jerking on these wires. Just manipulate the plug itself. Also, as you can see, this white wire is held down to the battery by these 2 pieces of tape. This is one of your antenna wire that comes over here to the right and snaps onto your Wi-Fi card. If you don't want to yank that off, make sure that you undo these pieces of tape before taking your battery out. So after the battery has been removed or at least unplugged, we can proceed deeper into the computer. You have the speakers here on the left-hand side of my screen and a speaker here on the right side of my screen. They don't connect to each other like in a lot of computers. They both plug into the motherboard separately. So this speaker here on the left, it plugs into the motherboard right here. And you will just take that whole plug right off. You'll just snap that right off of the motherboard. And this speaker plugs into the motherboard right here. And same thing, you'll snap that right off of the motherboard. And the speakers themselves, they don't screw down to the computer. They're just held on these clips here with these rubber washers for sound insulation. So you don't have to unscrew those. You can just wiggle those right off of there. I'll try to have some speaker replacements below in the description in that link I told you about with the replacement parts. And I guess the last thing to shout out about this kind of repair, if you're hearing that really junk sound every time the bass kicks in, then what that most likely is yes, your speakers are blown, they need to be replaced. However, if your speakers are only working sometimes, if the sound is really low sometimes, if you're seeing issues like that, it may not be that your speakers are bad. You may have a software issue, a driver issue. So if you're looking to troubleshoot that kind of problem, before getting in here to replace your speakers, there'll be a video link above. also below in the description showing you how to make sure all your drivers are up to date first, so you can rule that out before doing an extensive repair like this. So that's the video. I hope it was helpful. Please feel free to subscribe if you enjoy DIY computer content like this, but also if you just want to keep me on hand to answer any of your computer questions. I do try to answer all questions and comments at least a couple times a day. But make sure you do check out the FAQs below in the description. It could save you some time getting an answer to commonly asked questions. Also, feel free to check out the related links section below in the description. I try to add from time to time things in there that I think can help you or make your computer life, your computer world more enjoyable and more productive. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.